When we first talked about America's most durable buses, some folks thought we'd already covered them all. But the truth is, we were only getting started. Beyond the famous Greyhounds and schoolyard legends were the quiet workhorses, the ones that kept rolling long after the spotlight faded. They weren't glamorous, they didn't turn heads, but mile after mile, year after year, they refused to give up. From the roar of Detroit diesels echoing through mountain passes to the steady hum of city routes that never slept, these machines proved what true endurance means. This is the next chapter of American durability, a tribute to the buses that just wouldn't quit. 1961 to 1965, GMPD 4106. By the early 60s, Greyhound needed a worthy heir to the PD 4104, more muscle, a cooler-running power plant, a smoother highway stride, without giving up the bulletproof reliability riders trusted. The answer rolled out wearing clean, purposeful lines. The PD 4106, a true early 60s engineering hit that quietly became the backbone of America's open road. Under the floor sat the heart that changed everything. Detroit Diesel's 8V71, about 275 horsepower of two-stroke grit, running cooler and tougher than the old 671. It fed a stout four-speed Spicer you could feel through the lever, positive, mechanical, honest. Around it, an aluminum monocoque shell kept weight down and strength up, shrugging off years of flex and weather. The result was simple math any depot manager loved. More miles per gallon, fewer hours in the shop, and miles it did. Hundreds of coaches cleared the 1 million mile mark. Plenty ran past 2 million with routine overhauls. Parts were easy to find, service procedures were straightforward, and mechanics knew every access panel by touch. Many 4106s stayed in frontline duty deep into the late 80s, then found second lives with independents, churches, and tour outfits. Some folks still call it the bus that saved Greyhound. Most just remember how it felt: steady, quiet, confident. An American coach that did exactly what it promised, year after year, mile after mile. 1966 to 1970, GMPD 4107, PD 4905, Buffalo. When the famous Cinecruiser began showing its age, Greyhound needed something that carried its spirit: tall, proud, unmistakably American, but without all the headaches. Out of Detroit came the answer: the GM Buffalo. Sleeker, simpler, and more practical than the big double-decker it replaced, the PD 4107 and its longer sibling, the PD 4905, were built for hard miles, not headlines. Each coach was a showcase of solid mid-60s engineering. A Detroit Diesel 8V71 or later 8V92TA sat in back, delivering the kind of torque that could muscle through the Rockies without breaking a sweat. The aluminum monocoque frame stayed tight and rattle-free even after years of punishment. Air suspension smoothed out rough pavement, while the powerful air conditioning system kept passengers comfortable from coast to coast. In the hands of Greyhound drivers, these machines routinely logged over 1 million miles, some closer to 1.5, before ever seeing retirement. Many were rebuilt, resold, and kept on rolling through the 80s with charter outfits and private owners who knew quality when they drove it. The Buffalo was everything the Cinecruiser wanted to be: graceful but tough, stylish yet dependable. It bridged two eras: the romantic glamour of post-war travel and the lean efficiency of the modern highway age. In short, it was the Cinecruiser without the pain, and twice the staying power. 1940 to 1959, GM Old Look, TDH, SDH. Long before the fishbowl's sweeping glass and space-age shine, America's cities moved to the steady beat of the Old Look. From the end of World War II through the booming 1950s, these squat, rounded coaches were everywhere: New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, small towns and suburbs alike. If you ever waited at a bus stop in those years, odds are the old look carried you home. Its secret wasn't glamour, it was simplicity. Beneath the steel panels sat a rugged 671, or the smaller 471, Detroit diesel, a two-stroke engine that could run forever if you kept oil in it. Power went through a mechanical Spicer gearbox or early automatic, bolted into a riveted steel frame that could take decades of pounding without complaint. Everything was accessible, rebuildable, and over-engineered for the job at hand. Mechanics loved them because nothing was hidden. Parts were standardized across hundreds of fleets. Drivers loved them because they just worked, rain, snow, or city heat. Many old looks served 25 to 30 years before being sold to schools, churches, or private operators for a second life on quieter routes. By the time the last one left service, it had already written the rule book for every GM bus that followed. They built them simple, and they built them to last. 1960 to 1978, flexible new look. When General Motors ruled the American transit scene, most competitors quietly folded their tents, but not flexible. From a small plant in Loudonville, Ohio, the company built its own answer to the mighty GM Fishbowl, a bus designed not to outshine, but to outlast. The flexible new look wasn't flashy, but it had something far more important: grit. Structurally, it was every bit as tough as its Detroit rival. A stout monocoque frame gave it remarkable strength without unnecessary weight. The dependable Detroit diesel 6V71 sat amidships, paired with the smooth, bulletproof Allison VH9 automatic. Everything about it was designed for easy service. Panels that unbolted quickly, wiring you could trace by hand, and a layout that mechanics could understand at a glance. Transit agencies loved its no-nonsense dependability. These buses routinely served 20 to 25 years before retirement, and quite a few went on to live second lives as charters or conversions well into the 2000s. In a world dominated by GM, flexible proved that smaller didn't mean weaker. Its new look may have been the underdog, but it was the kind that kept getting back up. Mile after mile, decade after decade. The rival that endured and quietly earned its place among America's legends. 1983 to 1996, Flexible Metro. By the early 80s, Flexible's reputation was hanging by a thread. The troubled Model 870 had shaken confidence in the brand, cracks in frames, electrical gremlins, and a bad name across the industry. But in 1983, the company came roaring back with something stronger, simpler, and built to restore trust: the Flexible Metro. From the start, the Metro was engineered for redemption. Its reinforced steel frame could take a pounding day after day from northern winters to desert heat. Under the rear hatch sat the proven Detroit diesel 6V92, later replaced by the Series 50, both power plants known for endless service life. Power fed through an Allison V730 automatic, a transmission mechanics could rebuild in their sleep. The design was straightforward: easy access panels, logical wiring, and none of the overcomplication that doomed the 870. The result was a bus that just kept working. Many Metros stayed in frontline service for more than 20 years, later finding new lives as training rigs, movie props, or custom RVS. Even in retirement, they refused to fade away. The Metro didn't just rebuild Flexible's name, it proved that resilience runs deep in American steel. A comeback story on wheels and a champion that wouldn't die quietly. 1977 to 2002, GM, TMC, Nova RTS. When General Motors set out to replace the famous Fishbowl, it didn't just want another city bus, it wanted the future. The result was the RTS, the Rapid Transit Series, a design so bold that it looked like something out of a science fiction movie when it debuted in 1977. Rounded corners, modular body panels, and a stainless steel skeleton made it unlike anything else on the streets. Beneath that sleek shell was good old American toughness. Early models ran the Detroit Diesel 6V92, later joined by the rugged Series 50. Mechanics could swap panels or drivetrains with surprising ease, and corrosion-resistant construction meant the RTS could survive decades of snow, salt, and city abuse. It was practical engineering wrapped in futuristic skin. Transit fleets from New York to Houston and Miami put the RTS through the ringer, and the buses just kept going. Many lasted 25 to 35 years in daily service, some even crossing into the 2020s with smaller agencies and private owners. The RTS became the last great high-floor bus to truly earn its keep, a symbol of urban endurance. Even today, when one rumbles down the street, that curved windshield and smooth sidewalls still whisper a promise from another era. The future was built to last. 1987 to 2004, New Flyer D40HF, D60HF. By the late 1980s, North America was standing on the edge of a revolution in public transit. Low-floor buses were on the horizon, but the old high-floor designs still ruled the road. Into that in-between era rolled a machine that felt unbreakable, the New Flyer D40HF, and its 60-foot articulated brother, the D60HF. Built in Winnipeg, Canada, these buses were less vehicles and more rolling fortresses. Their heavy-gauge steel frames could shrug off potholes, curbs, and brutal winters without a whimper. Independent air suspension gave them a surprisingly smooth ride, while the Detroit Diesel 6V92, later replaced by the Series 50, provided a throaty growl and relentless torque. Power ran through Allison automatics that seemed to last forever if you kept the oil clean. Transit agencies loved them because they were easy to rebuild. A fresh coat of paint, a new drivetrain, and the D40HF was ready for another decade. Many logged 18 to 25 years in frontline duty, unheard of for a city bus. By the early 2000s, the low-floor era had arrived, but these high-floor tanks refused to vanish quietly. The D40HF and D60HF became the gold standard of late-century transit, the last of the heavy-duty giants, built from steel, sweat, and pure determination. 1997 to present, Gillig Low Floor. When the 1990s ushered in the low-floor revolution, many builders rushed to reinvent themselves. For Gillig, a company known for the square, indestructible Phantom, it was a turning point. They had to modernize without losing the toughness that made their name. The result was the Gillig Low Floor, a bus that quietly became the backbone of American transit in the 21st century. Its design was pure practicality. A heavy-duty steel frame formed the spine, built to take years of city abuse. Power came from dependable Cummins diesels, ISB or ISL, paired with Allison B 400R automatics that shifted with smooth precision. The layout was clean, logical, and easy to service. Every bolt, hose, and relay was where a mechanic expected it to be. And it showed in the miles. Buses built between 1999 and 2005 are still rolling today, 2 decades later, hauling commuters, students, and seniors through cities big and small. They don't rattle much, they don't break often, and when they do, parts are cheap and everywhere. In a time of hybrids, computers, and constant change, the Gillig Low Floor remains refreshingly simple, the new standard for everyday durability. It's proof that American tough still means something, even in the digital age. 2001 to present, MCI J4500. When MCI introduced the J4500 in 2001, it wasn't just replacing the dependable D-Series, it was redefining what a modern highway coach could be. Operators wanted comfort and style, but not at the cost of durability. MCI answered with a design that blended elegance and endurance in equal measure. Under its smooth, sculpted shell lies a backbone of strength, a monocoque frame built to handle the long haul, Power comes from proven heavy-duty diesels like the Detroit Diesel Series 60 or the Cummins ISX, paired with electronically controlled air suspension that delivers a silky ride even after hundreds of thousands of miles. The drivetrain, wiring, and access panels were all engineered with serviceability in mind. Mechanics could reach everything without tearing half the bus apart. And they last. Many J450s easily surpass 1 to 1.5 million miles before their first major overhaul, often returning to service looking and driving like new. Parts availability, nationwide support, and smart design keep them on the road and earning. For more than 2 decades, the J4500 has been the gold standard of the American charter industry, the place where luxury meets longevity. Smooth, quiet, and timeless, it's the modern face of a coach built to conquer 1 million miles and still have more to give. 2006 to present Prevost X345. When Greyhound went looking for a new generation of highway warriors, one name stood out above the rest: Prevost. Long trusted for its high-end touring coaches, the Canadian builder was tasked with creating something tougher, simpler, and ready for the daily grind of America's longest routes. The result was the X345, a machine built not for showrooms, but for survival. Everything about the X345 was engineered for endurance. Its all-steel frame is a masterpiece of strength, built to soak up millions of highway miles without twisting or cracking. Power comes from the Volvo D13 or the mighty Cummins X15, both known for torque and long service life. Independent air suspension smooths out broken pavement, while the low-slung, streamlined body keeps handling stable and quiet even at full load. For Greyhound and countless line-haul carriers, these buses quickly proved themselves. Many have logged between 1.8 and 2 million miles with nothing more than scheduled maintenance and an occasional rebuild. Drivers praise their stability, passengers their comfort, and mechanics their ease of service. The X345 represents the new age of American durability. Sophisticated, efficient, yet every bit as tough as the steel legends that came before it. Quite simply, it was built to live on the highway. From the thunder of the 4106 to the smooth hum of the X3-45, these machines tell one story: that American durability isn't a myth, it's a tradition. Decade after decade, they carried soldiers, students, workers, and dreamers across this country's endless highways. Some were elegant, some were plain, but every one of them was built with the same promise: keep moving, no matter what. Today, many rest in museums or private collections. Their paint faded, but their engines still ready. They remind us of a time when craftsmanship mattered and steel meant something. Which of these workhorses still echoes in your memory? Like and share if you believe the heart of America still beats in every mile these buses left behind.